He was a big man. He was a rich man. He would eat and he would party all the day long. There would be turkeys and many other things, some soup, some salad, some souffle. My name's David Woodall with the Emsdale Pastoral Charge in the United Church of Canada. He was a big man with many brothers. The world lay forever at their feet. They would go to concerts and social functions. The theater would beckon now and then. To the arts, museums, and to culture, they made donations and even gave to charity now and then. They felt sorry for the poor man. Each day when they came home, he would be there right by their gate. His name was Lazarus. He was a sad man. They would scrape the crumbs from their table for him and share it with them. They felt happy to help this sad man. How could a person get into such a mess as this? But they knew his name, and they tried to smile, and they would always wave to him a jolly hello. Now don't get me wrong here. They would point him out to their friends as they drove in and out of the gate, and the friends would say, "Get him out of there, your property values will fall. Do it now, don't hesitate." But they said, "No, he's no problem, and our care for him will earn a place for us in paradise." Alas, one day, a brother died. Perhaps the oldest one of all that jolly crew, the 6 jolly brothers. He found that paradise was much further than any preacher had led him to believe or even suspect. Now, he had hoped for paradise, to have a harp there, to have St. Peter bring him some food like angel cake. No wrong had he ever done, and he even gave some scraps off his plate. Unfortunately, he wound up not in paradise, but in that awful other place. And now in pain there, in utter anguish, he suffered. Across the way, kind of like a river, he saw Lazarus. He cried out, "Bring me some water, Lazarus, or some relief. You have so many good things on that side of the river, and my poverty is beyond belief. Remember the scraps from the table which made us happy when I came and I shared with you? You remember the scraps from the table that make us happy when we come and we share them with you?" We're rich people. We live in a land that God has blessed abundantly with untold wealth and resources. And for us to hear about poverty, starvation, and overcrowding is a somewhat unreal thing outside of most of our experiences. But we're being asked to understand it. Who are the 6 jolly brothers? "I was hungry and you gave me no food. I was thirsty and you gave me no drink." There's almost 8 billion of us on this planet. Who are the 6 jolly brothers? Who are the sore, hungry, thirsty people lying at the door? If you and I don't share in a significant way, then large portions of those 8 billion people will be undernourished, condemned to a life of poverty, caught in ethnic warfare as survival replaces the drive to peace and community. He had hoped for paradise, to have a harp there, to have St. Peter bring him some food like angel cake. No wrong had he ever done, and even he gave some scraps off his plate. Unfortunately, he wound up not in paradise, but in that awful other place. By the year 2030, there'll be over 8.5 billion people on Earth. Each person born in what we call the group of 7 countries, we probably could include the group of 20 countries, industrialized, advanced, prosperous, each person consumes 20 to 60 times as much as those born in the developing world. The amount of food available in the world is sufficient to feed the population of the earth, but an estimated 10% of the world experiences extreme hunger because of wars and famine and climate change, and the simple inability to share out of our abundance. And this is only growing worse these days with war in Ukraine and the various climate crises that are haunting this world. The last of the world's great rainforests are being logged. Holes caused by airborne pollutants occur regularly every year over Antarctica. The number of overfished stocks globally has tripled in half a century, and today fully 1/3 of the world's assessed fisheries are currently pushed beyond their biological limits. There are between 200 and 2,000 species extinctions every year. The world's richest nations a few years ago were 61 times richer than the poorest nations, and that gap is widening. 1948 saw the birth of the International Declaration of Human Rights. In part it said this: everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of themselves and their family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care, and necessary social services, and the right to security in the event of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, or other lack of livelihood in circumstances beyond their control. Motherhood and childhood are entitled to special care and assistance. All children shall enjoy the same social protection. Oh, the six jolly brothers. The world lay forever at their feet. They'd go to concerts and social functions. The theater would beckon now and then. To the arts and museums and to culture, they made donations and even gave to charity now and then. And each day they would pass by that man named Lazarus at their gate. But the truth was, their eyes didn't see him. They could have used, it wouldn't have even been a major portion, they could have used what they had to heal his sores instead of watching dogs lick them. And they could have used, it wouldn't have even been a major portion, they could have used what they had to help him start again in life. Instead, they just gave him the scraps off the table. The six jolly brothers. Who are they? And who is Lazarus? Perhaps a little child starving in some forgotten ghetto in some third world country. Or perhaps it's the ghost of our children years from now, and the sores are from the pollution we haven't solved, or the lack of care we haven't given to freedom, or the increasing carbonization of our atmosphere. The six jolly brothers. They were rich men. They were fine men. They would eat and they would party all day long. There would be turkeys and many other things, some soup, some salad, and some souffle. They were kind men, and everyone knew it. They did not order Lazarus to be removed from their gate. They made no objections to his receiving the bread that was flung from the table. In those days, people ate with their fingers and wiped their hands off with bread and then flung it on the floor. Imagine how embarrassing to have somebody crawling around grasping that discarded bread. It would really be uncomfortable in a dinner party. But they didn't object. They were kind men, and everyone knew it. They did not kick Lazarus in passing. They were never deliberately cruel to him. They simply never noticed Lazarus. He was simply part of the landscape. You know, in the same way all those welfare people that we have today, they're just part of the landscape. Who exactly is Lazarus lying at the gate? To look on the world's suffering and need and feel no answering sword of grief and pity pierce our hearts. To look at a fellow human being hungry and in pain and to do nothing about it. To be the person who never notices. Oh, that jolly brother, please go tell my brothers so they don't wind up in this God-forsaken place. But the plain fact is that if we haven't heard the truth, or if we have heard the truth, and if wherever we look there is sorrow to be comforted, need to be supplied, pain to be relieved, and it moves us to no feeling and no action, then nothing, not even a person coming back from the dead, will be able to affect us. But if we have heard, and if the God of life really does dwell inside of us, then a sword pierces our heart whenever we see somebody suffering or hungry or in poverty or in pain. We look around and we see. Don't be the people who never see. You dry those tears, you comfort, you give your coat and your cloak as well, and you be the ones to stand for good and help when everyone else runs away. And you'll find that Jesus Christ is standing beside you, and you will find that Jesus Christ is dwelling within you. You be the ones, be the people who see, and God bless you all. Amen. Da-da-da-da! We're doing some paper in here. Not really. No, we should get some more paper. Okay. Let's get into here.